Thank you very much, Mr. President, Majority Floor Leader, distinguished colleagues, very, very precious friends. Mr. President, before we go on a Christmas break, please allow me to announce that I have circulated the committee report from your Blue Ribbon Committee for your respective signatures. It is about the non-implementation of laws, particularly Motorcycle Crime Prevention Act, or RA 11235, which we passed 2 years ago. And of course, we all know that just recently we saw the deadly consequences resulting from their inaction. Wala pong nangyayari, marami pong namamatay, wala pa rin yung operation center natin para kung may magkagawa ng krimen, mari-report. As we all look forward to thinking about blessing things in the holidays, reunion with families, more time with kith and kin, and those dear to your hearts, please think also about what has been distributed for your action which you may deem appropriate. Many of us are reaching their third year here in this chamber. A number of us are in their sixth, and some are on their way out, regretfully, because of term limits. I'm about to finish my 12th collectively, and I have some experience to share which might help all of us as we go into the next Congress. Among many other functions assigned to us by our Constitution, I will talk about two as well, very important, if not the most important roles we are mandated to perform: lawmaking and oversight. 1987 Constitution Article 6, the Legislative Department, Section 1 tells us that legislative power shall be vested in Congress, in us here. I will not belabor that point because all of us know what that means. Among the laws we pass, we can mention the Annual General Appropriations Act as one very important law. Government, at least theoretically, will be hard put to function normally. It will not be able to rationally provide for the needs of our people unless we pass an appropriations law in due time. And I congratulate Senator Angara for that, as well as the other colleagues. We are also able to provide funding to meet the needs of our people in this once-in-a-century pandemic because we passed Biennials 1 and 2. There is the opinion that after we have passed bills and the subsequent signature of the President is obtained, assenting to that proposal resulting thus in that legislative act, then our work is done. And thus we are on our way to the next legislative work that needs our attention. Our aim is to protect the people through the rule of law. If the law we had passed is not implemented well, or worse, is not implemented at all, what do? We heard the Senate President the other day initiate, the Senate as a committee of the whole on smuggling. And largely, as I pointed out there, we have to enforce the law. So if the law is not being enforced or they're dragging their feet, ano gagawin natin? Do we just tell ourselves that our job has been done in accordance with the charter and therefore cannot do anything anymore? Shall we lie supinely on our backs and hug, as Patrick Henry would say, the elusive phantom of hope that someday we can have reforms in our country? Do we enlist the aid of another great department, the judiciary, by filing cases of mandamus, commanding the executive to perform what it's duty to do, implementing the law? Where does that leave us then? What are the consequences for not implementation of laws? Our aim, again, is to protect the people. When the executive fails to implement, and I use that, very generally, a law properly, or when it fails at all to implement what we have passed, the result is a situation where the executive department could just sneer at us, disrespect us, or worse, show to the world how powerless we in the Senate or in Congress can be. That is completely unacceptable to us, Mr. President, especially since we too have been put here in place by voters of the entire country. Our mandate is no less strong, our role no less important than the others. But that, while personal to us, is not the only consequences I will discuss in a short while. We cannot allow ourselves to just concede the enactment of what may be called symbolic laws, treated as mere advice, treated as mere hortatory urgings rather than as imperative commands. The failure to implement results not merely in our having wasted our time, long hours, the people's money, and efforts in passing measures that seek to alleviate problems and hardships our people suffer today, it simply endangers a lack of respect for the laws. Non-implementation of law has dire consequences. for our people, even deadly. Many suffer injuries or die because of this dereliction of duty. The law cannot save those who deny it, but neither can the law serve any who do not use it. The history of injustice and inequality is a history of disuse of the law. Law has not failed and is not failing. We as a nation have failed ourselves by not trusting the law and by not using the law to gain sooner the ends of justice in which law alone serves. Quoting President Johnson of the United States. The Blue Ribbon Committee is a very useful committee. Useful for our people, most especially. It's also a very hard and difficult committee. We have to make decisions of malfeasance, misfeasance, and nonfeasance, Mr. President. Personalities will be affected, and the public will know who's doing their job, who's not doing their job, or is simply violating the law. It is also a powerful committee, the Blue Ribbon is. And when utilized properly, can hold public officers, as I said, to account gain for the protection of our people. Now, Mr. President, hindi ko naman po hiningi yan. 2 beses na ako nagsenador. Yan ay binigay niyo sa akin. Una ni Senator Pimentel and later, nito nakaraan, napunta po rin sa akin yan. I do not relish this role. As I said, I have not asked to be chairman of this committee. I do not, and I dare say none of us enjoy the role of grilling people, making them appear before the public during hearings. But it is a duty na kailangan ganapin. It is a task na kailangan harapin. And it is needed by our people in order to protect their interests, lalo na kung wala na silang kapag-asa. Ang nakaraan linggo po, 6 na human beings, 6 na Pilipino, ay have been victimized or pinatay ng, again, sabi nga ni Senate President, my pet peeve raw. Hindi po pet peeve. Riding-in-tandem killers. Hindi naman ako lahat na nagmamotorsiklo ay mamamatay tao. Pero dapat supilin natin itong mga mamamatay tao na ginagamit yung nakaw na motorsiklo o walang plaka o minamali yung plaka. Eh ginawa na po natin ang ating tungkulin. Itong 6 na tao, tigyan po ninyo. On December 2, hindi pa po tapos ang kalahati ng buwan. 2021, December 2. Doktor, San Doktor Raul Winston Andutan, a respected person in Cagayan de Oro City, a prominent surgeon and urologist based in Cagayan de Oro City. Nag-aral maging Surihano, urologist. The medical director of Maria Rheria Xavier University Hospital ay pinatay in broad daylight by riding in tandem allegedly for the price of 150,000 pesos to be shared by 4 people. The 2 arrested, papalat tayo, naka-arrest tayo, shot and killed the doctor. I hope may mangyari dyan sa kasong yan. Mayor Jerusalem Lahid was a humanitarian leader, an ex-cop, who respected humanitarian rules. He cleared his turf of banditry of the Abu Sayyaf, restoring peace in his battle-scarred hometown in Albarca. Sasamba siya sa mosque sa Zamboanga City. Kasama niya ang kamag-anak niya, bodyguard niya, at isang, hindi ako nagkakamali, dating mga kasama niya sa politika. Ano ginawa sa kanya? 4 na motorsiklo po ang ginamit sa kanya at siya ay pinaslampas na, pinagbabaril siya at yon, tepok po na naman. Ito ang pinakamasakit na naman. Kasing sakit ng lahat ito. Jesse Malabanan, isang correspondent doon sa Pampanga. Binisita ang kanyang ina, stringer siya ng Reuters, tumulong sa stories on the drug war, which won a Pulitzer Prize for Reuters in 2018. Ano po nangyari? Pinastong siya doon sa Calbayog City. Inabangan siya sa labas ng bahay niya at siya ay pinagbabaril doon. Ayan. Pagkatapos, December 14, yan si Jess Malabanan, ang kanyang larawan. At makita ninyo, ito naman, ito yung kotse ni Ervin Dunhill sa Mandawi City. Madalas, last time, may abogado napatay mismo sa kanyang opisina. Ervin Dunhill doon sa kanyang gate, sa kanyang bahay sa Urban Deca Homes in Mantawi City, was shot by motorcycle riding suspects at 8:25 in the morning. Ayan na naman po. If indeed the executive fails to implement a law, we can exercise this power granted us in order to prod them into proper action. We cannot sit idly by, and we, the Senate, can do more than merely hoping and praying that the law we have passed is implemented. We have more than lived up to this function in the Blue Ribbon Committee, investigating malfeasance, misfeasance, and nonfeasance of public officers. Yan po na lang po kayo ng halimbawa ng LTO. Mabait na ba na tao? Mukhang mabait na tao. Baka sobrang bait. Yung kanilang Assistant Secretary Edgar Galvante. On March 8, 2019, pinasa po natin yung RA 11235 entitled the Motorcycle Crime Prevention Act. Using motorcycles in the commission of crimes by requiring a bigger plate number in the back and a decal, hindi po doble plaka, ngunit doble proteksyon ang binigay natin, hindi doble plaka. Siniraan nga po yan ang katakot-takot. Okay lang ho yan, free country, pero natatakot sa iba, doble plaka raw, malalaki. Bakit naman di po natin gagawin yan? 19,000 na ang ginagamit ang motor. Ito nakaraan 5 taon, ay wala hong nahuhuli halos. Konti lang. At nakikita nyo, nakakalungkot. 11235 was passed to protect the public. Protection ba yan? 19,227 people being killed with impunity. Murder, 7,123. Homicide, 422. Physical injuries, rape, ginagamit pa motor, robbery, carnapping, lahat na naandyan. Ang total, 19,227. It was passed to protect the public against a full arsenal against criminals using motorcycles. It was enacted to protect the innocent from motorcycle-laden criminals by allowing easier identification of specific vehicles used in many crimes through the requirement of larger, legible, more identifiable, color-coded license plates. Sa kulay pa lang, malalaman na natin kung saan galing rihon. At merong mga plaka at yan ay papasok sa computer at dapat papasok sa isang operation center para may nakita tayong plaka, papaliwanag ko mamaya, ma-report na kagad. The absence of bigger readable and color-coded motorcycle plates has unquestionably contributed to the rampant unabated killings in the country. Sabi ko na po yung record, 7,123 ay murder dito sa 19,277. Ngayon lang taon na ito, 200 biktima ang namatay sa motorcycle riding in tandem. Kung nag-crash po yan, malaking headline yan. 200 namatay sa aeroplano. Ito, nasisingitan tayo, hindi natin napapansin, unti-unti pinapat ang ating mga kababayan. According to the Committee to Protect Journalists, CPJ, an independent non-profit organization in the Philippines, the Philippines is the 7th deadliest country in the world for journalists. The tally of UNESCO and the CPJ range from 17 to 23 killings. At in 2021, 4 out of the 5 journalists were killed by riding in tandem. List of journalists killed by riding in tandem include John Heredia in 2021 Pilar Capis, Yentes Quintoy, General Santos, Renante Cortez, Cebu City, Jesus Malabanan, Samar. Because of the dismal failure of the Land Transportation Office, na inimbestiga natin na matagal, to implement RA 11235, more people are being killed and getting killed by criminals in riding that. Impunity is not accountability. It's impunity, not accountability, reigns. Second, bakit hindi dadami yan? Hindi po ginagawa yung Joint LTO PNP Operations and Control Center dedicated para mahuli lahat yung mga yan. 2 years after the signing of the law, no functional operations and control center has materialized. Kahapon po, tinawagan ko na naman sila. 6 na tawag, wala pong sumasagot. Nung sinabi nilang meron, tinawagan namin sila nung nag-hearing sa harapan ni Secretary Galvante, walang sumasagot. Section 15 provides that the LTO is mandated to set up a 24/7 command center which will function as an action center for the reporting on the commission of crimes perpetrated through the use of stolen vehicles, especially stolen motorcycles. The command center should include text blasts warning people on the occurrence of killings and other crimes. It should be equipped with a reliable real-time database na galing sa LTO, nasa kanila lahat ng plaka. The latest available technology and adequate hardware and software including a working mobile app na papamahagi sa mga mamamayan. Pag may nakitang walang plaka, pwede na kaagad i-report. Kung may nakitang barilan, pwede nang i-report. Sufficient to immediately address emergencies or concerns. Ibabato nila sa mga barangay, sa mga pulis, at certainly you've taken a big bite out of crime pag nangyari yan. So, let me paint you a picture po na pagkatapos ma-report yan, pwede mag-issue ng all points bulletin. If you lose your motorcycle, you can report it directly to the OPSEN with a touch of a button through a mobile app. If you see a motorcycle with no plates, report it. Example of messages that can be sent to OPSEN would be motorcycle without plate seen in this corner right now. Nandun sa mapa nila yan, ginagawa ko po yan sa Red Cross, mayroon kaming OPSEN. Nakikita ko po lahat kung saan nangyayari yung nasasagasaan o na-aksidente. Kayang-kaya naman sigurong gawin lalo na ng gobyerno. Ang Red Cross ay isang humanitarian organization na walang budget sa gobyerno. If you see a riding-in-tandem who has just committed a crime, you can report it to the OPSEN. All these reports become recorded automatically in the database. Any picture, pwede padala sa database, which can be used for crime prevention. Pwede ako maglagay na naman ng mga videos na nakukuha mismo ng media at palabas yan. Pero di po ba natatandaan nyo yung mismong inimbestiga natin sa Muntinlupa, sa GCTA? Yung tenyente doon na nag-aaral ng abogasya, pinatay sa harapan ng eskwela ng kanyang anak na sinusundo ng motorcycle riding in tandem, malapit sa Muntinlupa. Ang dami na nating napakitang ganyan. Pero tayo ba yung namamanhid na rin dito sa ating Senado? With a working smartphone app connected to the OPSEN, PNP, Barangay Police, and other relevant authorities, the LTO, can be a super hub of information and a fulcrum where the witnesses to crimes, not just victims, can quickly report in real time the crimes they witnessed, location, and other details. Mas magaling pa ho ata ang kriminal pati bangko. Nakukuha yung mga deposito ng tao. Dito nga, kawawang-kawawa naman ang tao. Ang gobyerno dapat tutulungan natin maproteksyon ng tao, hanggang ngayon, wala pa. Kaya, in-expose po natin sa Blue Ribbon yan, dami namamatay. How many of these crimes are solved? The implementation of the law can help us solve these crimes. Only 26% or 5,032 cases were marked solved sa 19,277 cases na halo-halo. Yung mga naghahablot ng wallet, ng bag, o ng cellphone, o tumatakbo sa nakabangga. We must assert the implementation, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of this honorable Senate. I-assert natin ang Senado, yung implementation natin na 11235. A citizen-centric law. Para sa tao yan, hindi para sa atin. Kailangan bigyan natin ng kapangyarihan ang ating mga kababayan to participate in preventing and fighting crimes. Pag nagsama ang mga leader at ang tao, lalabas ang galing ng Pilipino para masugpo ang krimen na ginagawa, hindi lang ng mga motorsiklo, ngunit yung krimen sa kalsada. Hindi naman ganun karami ang pulis, nasweldoan na natin ng malaki, pero one death is one death too many. Kaya fake news talaga yung doble plaka na sinasabi dyan. Hindi po doble plaka, ito. Doble proteksyon ang sinasabi ko. Protektado ang mga riders at protektado ang taong bayan. Alam po ba niyo kung bakit pinakalat yung doble plaka? Una, pinakalat po yan dahil kung matatamaan yung ilang mga importers, dealers, dahil nasa batas natin yan, ay within 5 days ay dapat magkaroon na ng rehistro yung motorsiklo. Ang ginagawa lang po, pag nilakad ng motorsiklo na bumili, ay bibigyan lang sila ng deed of sale. Ay tignan nyo ang biktima niya mga yan, walang plaka yan. paparahin yan. Akala nila may karapatan na silang makapag-maneho ng motorsiklo, makapasok sa trabaho, makapaghanap buhay. Haharangin yan, wala kang rehistro, punta ka doon sa kabilang dulo at malamang pipilitan magbigay ng cash sunduan yung mga tao. Abala, kurakot, kotong, yan ang nangyayari. 2 taon na po yan, pinasa natin. At hanggang ngayon, wala pang operations and control centers. Karamanduman pong kasalanan yan. Napakarami ng pinatay. Sabi ko nga, completely unacceptable. Protecting the lives of the people is paramount. Kung hindi natin gagalawin, kasama tayo na may kasalanan sa namamatay. Ayoko sabihin, nagpasa kayo ng batas, tapos walang bisa yung batas ninyo. Walang kwenta yung ginagawa ninyo. Sa kabila ng pangako ni Edgar Galvante na ang command center is going to be set up and running, hanggang ngayon tumawag kayo sa 88 LTO or 888586, wala pa rin. Puro repetitive reply to the calls. The number you dialed cannot be completed. Please check the number and dial again. And he wants us to trust the LTO? How can anyone trust them? Katatawag ko lang po ngayon. Walang sagot. Yan po ang nangyayari sa atin. Third, yung mga plaka po and the command center could have assisted the PNP greatly in solving crimes. Andiyan si General Bato, Senador Bato na, and could have deterred the commission of other crimes. Alam ko, susuportahan niya ito. The implementation of the law allows our people to be part of the process of change, to help themselves and help their fellow men. With the proper implementation, itong batas na ito, riding-in-tandem perpetrators can be easily apprehended since the number plates will be easily read, monitored, and reported. Law enforcers will be able to trace the owner of the motorcycle used in the crime. Kahit na gamitin niya yung kabilang region, makikita siya sa kulay. Sabihin ng iba, hindi naman gagamit ang numero ng kanyang sariling plate number. Siyempre, magnanakaw ng plaka yan. Kahit na paano, meron ka matitrace. At kung nawala ang plaka ng tao, kailangan i-report niya, kundi he will be treated as an abettor of the crime. Accessory siya. Kung lalo kung nakamatay. May penalty po yan. Kaya mapipilitan mag-report ang mamayan kung nawala ang kanyang motorsiklo, ang kanyang plaka. Nasa batas po yan. Kaya, mas madaling matitrace ang mga kapulisan ang perpetrators ng motorcycle crimes. Kasalanan ng LTO na hindi nila naproteksyonan ang publiko, and they committed injustice by dragging their feet in effecting the provisions of RA 11235. LTO should have long had a long, forward-looking, citizen-centric approach with integration of its ops and efforts with technologies like mobile application or an app. Pero hanggang ngayon, sabi ko nga, wala pa. Tatandaan po ninyo, nung ako'y mayor, ginawa ko po yung rationalization of the transportation sector that I personally did in Olongapo way back in 1983. Color-coded yung jeep, may body number, mayroong record, wala pa kang computer ng araw, pero may libro, bawat kulay, pag kinuha ng krimen, madaling makita, may litrato yung driver, operator, may address. Wala akong crime na naganap sa mga tricycle at mga jeepney operations doon. Nawala rin yung color room. Dapat meron tayong built-in safety features such as large, easily readable doon sa Olongapo body numbers. Ayan po, paano sila makakalusot. Proteksyon ng tao nilagay natin na yung uniforme ng driver ay may pangalan sa likod. At yan, nakalagay pa nga ang paghikayat sa tao na mag-aim high, bawal ang tamad. At lahat po yan ay may record doon sa City Hall. Hanggang ngayon ginagawa yan. Pang-apat, yung unconscionable and inordinate delay in the implementation of RA 11235, binigyan sila ng until December 31, 2019 to produce, release, and issue the readable number plates required by RA 11235, almost 2 years to the day. But LTO started production of motorcycle license plates only on 29 July 2020. 7 months after LTO was mandated by law to produce the correct number plates. The first batch of plates was distributed only on 27 August 2020. LTO thus needs to produce 18 million permanent motorcycle plates more by June 2022. This is absolute misfeasance for which the LTO, under the leadership or lack of it, of Assistant Secretary Edgar Galvante should be taken to account. Isa pa, hindi ho nila in-issue yung implementing rules and regulations kahit na nasa labas yan within 90 days from effectivity of this act, which means 29 March 2019, dapat meron na. Nagtagal po yan ng 1 taon bago na-release yung IRR. So, lahat ng facet ng pag-implement ng law, natagalan. It reveals the apathy, walang pakialam, lack of a sense of urgency, and insensitivity to the continuing unabated murder and other crimes in our streets and by no less than people or entrusted to protect the people. Sobra na, itigil na natin yan. Pag walang rehistro ang motorcycle, hinaharang yan sa checkpoint. Nasabi ko na po yan. Abala at graft and corruption na mangyayari. Ito ang masakit. Fifth, in-expose po natin yung existence of regulatory capture. Isang nakatagal po dyan ay pinagbigyan nila, parang formally, ang isang supplier na ang pangalan ay Trojan Tonjes, not Trojan Horse nga sila. Lahat ng annual bidding since 2017 to 2020, yan binibigay. Inambisiga po namin yan. Bakit sa kanila bibigay? Clearly malfeasance yan. Alam po ba niyo kung bakit? Sila lang ang nagbigay ng technology at kung ibibigay sa iba, lalong madidelay dahil kung ang nakalagay doon, kailangan gamitin yung technology ng Trojan Tonjes o kung hindi, kailangan nyo mananalo sa bidding maglalagay. Pinababayaan nila na kay Trojan Tonjes, kahit may nanalo pang iba, ay sasabihin nila, ang may proprietary ownership dyan ay si Trojan Tonjes. Bakit bibigyan ng LTO yan? Gobyerno yan eh. Dapat sa gobyerno may-ari ng proprietary right na yan. Abay, binigay nila sa private, kaya ang mangyayari, hindi makapasok ng iba. So, talagang laughing all the way to the bank, itong Trojan Tonjes. Talagang prejudicial lahat sa consumers ang ginagawa sa public. Unscrupulous dealers are encouraged, almost incentivized, not to maintain proper itemized records. Bilo nyo, kumuha pa sila ng tinatawag nilang binibigay na ang pagpaparehistro ng motorsiklo ay bibigay nila sa ilang mga dealer na paborito para sa ganon, mga abogado tayo, sila Atty. Tolentino, Senator Tolentino, Senator Dillon, ayan ang mga abogado dyan sa atin, sila Senator Pangilinan, ano nangyayari? Hindi nila bibigyan ng rehistro, bibigyan lang nila dito sale para marirepossess nila without the proper procedure in court called replevin. So talagang hihilahin na lang yung motor, walang kalaban-laban, yung motorsiklo, di makapunta sa husgado, nagbayad na siya ng installment, nangarap siya magkaroon siya ng gamit, pag hindi nabayaran, hihilahin na lang. Ano kaya ang nakuha ang mga motorsiklo nito ng pandemic? So mga kasama, ano nangyayari? Nagpapasasa ang ilang mga dealers na pinagsasamantalan dahil pinagbigyan sila ng LTO ng talagang prangkisa na sila na nagpa-function as LTO. Undue delegation of authority. Dapat na nabibigay ng rehistro ang LTO. Yun ang nangyari sa atin dyan. So, naghihirap ang mga tao, papatayan sila, yung pinag-ipunan nila, ng mga installment, mapupurnada pa, at walang protection binibigay ang tao natin dyan sa mga yan. Maraming fatalities, maraming naghirap, maraming yumaman, yung mga tonjes, ilang mga nasa karsada na mga unscrupulous policemen, hindi naman lahat, o yung mga LTO, haharangin, may pangbilihan na lang agad. Sa bandang huli po, we cannot tolerate a system na ginawa ng batas natin dito, pinaghirapan natin. Ako mismo talagang tumulo ang pawis ko dyan. Pero ano nangyari? Hanggang ngayon po, 2 taon na. Ang tagal ko na pong finale ang batas na yan. Alam ni Senator Revilla yan. Nung una pa lang kami senador, hindi lang natapos, hindi umabot. Nakaraan, Congress, napasa ko na ito, pero hanggang ngayon, about 3 years ago, napasa na ito, hanggang ngayon, wala pa rin. Patay pa rin ng patay. So my friends, more will come in another subsequent report. I'd like to thank all the other folks who has already signified their intention. So ano ang way forward natin dito sa batas na ito? I've exhibited to you a graphic picture of harm caused to our populace by the inaction of the executive. Your Blue Ribbon Government Committee has taken action by rigorously exercising duties and functions. Hindi po madali yan. Do you think masarap sa akin na para kang siga na sasabihin mo, malfeasance ka, may pamilya naman si Secretary Galvante, ayoko rin naman masasaktan yan. Pero I have to do my job. It's a very difficult job. Anong gagawin natin ngayon? So, anong way forward po? We have worked hard to hold accountable, therefore, people holding power, no matter how high they are in our government hierarchy. And before we can even think of passing new laws to address the myriad of problems our society faces, I submit that what we should prioritize is an honest-to-goodness review of laws. Hindi lang ito. Katulad ng election law, yung mga tatakbo ulit, baguhin na natin yan. O di kaya naman itong lalabas natin sa Blue Ribbon Committee ulit, ay alisin na natin yung mga binibigyan natin na pinapark lang yung pera ng gobyerno, katulad ng PSDBM, saka PITC, marami tayong mababago, para hindi naman maging paper tiger ang ating Senado at hindi pa kailangan tumayo ang Senate President mismo para tawagin ang pansin ng customs na hindi ini-implement yung batas laban sa smuggling. Performance of our duty of oversight is not an easy task. Oftentimes, we're even vilified. No less, and I forgive him by the Chief Executive. Okay lang ho sa akin. Tumura pa ako. Okay lang ho yan. Dati naman kami magkaibigan. Yun na lang tatandaan ko. Yung pinagsamahan namin, hindi na yung umasim na pinagsamahan. My physical safety, my life has been threatened also by powerful men. We've been harassed and besieged by trolls. But in all of this, I am certain that I am not alone. The Senate must, as always, be brave to protect our prerogative, independence, in the pursuit of protecting the people. But the problems I've talked about with you cannot stop, as neither can it stop you, my dear colleagues. We have taken our oaths, sumumpa tayo, to serve and protect the people. A trust has been assigned for us. Pareho tayo ng Pangulo na binoto ng buong bansa for us to uphold by those who have put us in office. We cannot disappoint them. We cannot let them down. We cannot betray them. All of us die when somebody else dies because we just watch helplessly when we cannot even implement or force the enforcement of law. That note, I ask for I thank you for all your patience. It's rather another elongated speech. That's part of my passion. I've waited so many years. It is my hope na sana may mangyari. And that is why the committee report has already stated that masacharge sa malfeasance, misfeasance, nonfeasance, yung ASEC Galvante at yung kanyang assistant doon sa LTO na nangangalang Executive Director Romeo Veracruz. I'm not happy doing that. I just ask the Senate, paglabas ito, hopefully the Secretary of Justice will act. Hopefully the Ombudsman will act. Tayo, nagko-contempt tayo pag binabastos tayo. At hindi dahil to punish them, but to uphold the integrity and independence of the Senate. Doon sa Amerika, gumagalaw ang Attorney General pag kino-contempt ng Kongreso. Kapakailan lang yan. At lately, the 9-man committee in Congress has already acted on somebody who has refused to appear before the committee or refused to answer people that they call. So ganoon din dito sa atin, gumawa tayo ng batas pag hindi ginaganap. Siguro dapat yan ang magiging bagong function rin ng Blue Ribbon Committee sa mga darating na panahon na hanapin yung mga hindi ina-implement na batas para magkaroon ng saysay ang ating bansa. Maraming salamat po. I wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I'm sorry I have to do this because it will be the end of the year. And by the time we meet each other formally, it will be next year on the birthday of my father on January 17th to meet for the next 9 session days. And then we would go into the period of the elections by February 9. It is my hope, mapasa natin to para makakalabahar tayo sa tao na meron tayong ginawang kabutihan para sa kanila. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. God bless the Republic of the Philippines. Mabuhay po ang bansa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, to our dear colleague, Senator Gordon, for a timely message. Truly, we need to act on this problem of riding in tandem. We congratulate the gentleman for bringing this up to this chamber. Mr. President.
Nahagip ng CCTV ang pamamaril ng riding in tandem sa isang pulis. May tatlong riding in tandem ding namaril sa Town Street sa Pasay.
Walang pinipiling target ang mga riding in tandem. Halos araw-araw mayroong mga balita kung saan sangkot ang mga kriminal na demotorsiklo. Sa datos nga ng PNP, mahigit 19,000 motorcycle crime-related incidents ang naitala mula noong 2016 hanggang Enero nitong taon.
Napakaraming pinapatay. Hindi lang dito sa administrasyon na ito. Sa lahat ng administrasyon, naging bisyo na either ng mga kriminal o sinuan na pumapatay. At ang nangyayari, ang kinakatakot ko, nasasanay na ang mga tao at parang nasagasa ang aso lang yung binaril.
Kaya isinulong ni Senator Dick Gordon ang Motorcycle Crime Prevention Act upang matuldukan na ang paggamit ng mga motorsiklo sa krimen. Sa ilalim ng Batas Republic Act 11235 na nilidaan ni Pangulong Duterte noong Marso 2019, mas malaki na ang plakang ilalagay sa likod ng motorsiklo habang sticker o decal naman ang ilalagay sa harapan para madali itong mabasa at mapabilis ang pagtukoy sa nagmamay-ari nito.
Mapakita natin na makakatulong malaki yan, hindi kasanlaki ng kopong banyan. Nilakihan lang ng konti para may laban ang tao at ang laban ng tao ay yung color na nasa ibabaw at yung code, alphanumeric code na sinasabi ko saan region ang galing yan.
Batid ni Senator Gordon ang sentimiento ng ating mga motorcycle riders, lalo na silang madalas makaranas ng diskriminasyon sa lansangan. Kaya naman patuloy ang pagkalampag ng Senate Blue Ribbon Committee sa mga kinauukulan para sa ganap na implementasyon ng naturang batas.
Ayon sa batas na ito, na ginawa natin RA 11235, after 5 days dapat mag-rehistro na ang plaka at may registration na yung mga tao. Sa totoo lang, walang binibigay ang LTO. Kung walang plate number, kawawa yung bumili ng motorsiklo. Kung walang plate number, kawawa ang mga nananakawan, kawawa ang pinapatay. Kung hindi natin papairalin, talagang delikado ang mga kababayan natin.
Sa kabilang banda, kinikilalang mahalagang papel ng mga motorsiklo ngayong panahon ng pandemya. Sa inisyatibo ni Dick Gordon, katuwang na ngayon ng Philippine Red Cross ang angkas riders sa mga serbisyo nito.
I am proud that the good senator and the Philippine Red Cross has now made it our collective responsibility to ensure all bikers all around the country are given the proper dignity and respect. Sa lahat ng mga fake news na walang pakialam ang ating senador sa mga nagmumotor, tingnan po natin ang aksyon niya para sa ating mga kagulong. Maraming salamat po personally, Senator, for helping our bikers. No?
Paalala naman sa publiko, pairalin natin ang pagtutulungan at pagkakaisa tungo sa mas ligtas na bayan.